Hi, my name is James. I'm a knee, foot and ankle specialist, and today I'm going to talk you through one of the most common questions that we get in clinic is, can you continue running if you got Achilles tendonitis? So first things first, before we delve into this, please remember that any content within this video is for educational purposes only. So broadly, in most cases, the answer is yes, but we're going to delve into when those rare cases are that you have to stop running, and we're going to talk you through how you continue running while you do your rehab. In most cases, in a low irritability to a moderate irritability Achilles tendonitis, we would say that you can continue running. We might recommend that you would reduce your running volume by 20 to 30%, and that you would take into consideration things like tempo runs, strides, and hill running. So they are the things that are most likely to aggravate your Achilles tendonitis. We know that when you run at a moderate pace, you get up to 7 times your body weight placed through the Achilles tendon, and that's probably the primary reason that we try not to prevent people from stopping running, because if we do, it doesn't matter how much strength work we do in the gym, you're going to get degradation of the tendon, weakening of the tendon over time. So that's why we try to keep in a certain level of running while we do our strength work. So what that might look like is we might drop down your volume. So if you run 3 times a week, we might consider in the initial instance dropping your running volume down to twice a week with a 48-hour gap between runs. You can then do running, strength work, rest, run, strength work, rest. The key thing for this is the morning after you run, we need your pain to be relatively stable. So let's say on a typical week you have 3 to 4 out of 10 pain when you wake up in the morning. If you go for a run and your pain is spiked up to 7 out of 10, then that's a complete overload, and we know that you'll struggle to get better from that point of view. So if that is the case, in the next run, once your pain levels have calmed down, try considering dropping the pace or dropping the distance that you ran before. Ideally that you would run on a flat surface, and that reduces the tension that's placed on the Achilles, because we know that it works harder going uphill. Other things that we might also consider is your running trainers. So we know that we can put in a higher stack shoe, so with a higher drop height, so the back of the shoe is higher than the front, that can offload the Achilles and reduce the tension on it. That's useful for pain relief while you rehab your tendon, and normally we would recommend that you have a cycle or rotational shoes that we would work through anyway, but while you have the symptoms, a higher stack tends to work better. So the key things that we're looking for is stabilizing your pain. So you can run if your pain doesn't spike the next day, then it facilitates the rehab, and then you have a day of recovery, and then you try to stimulate the tendon again. If the pain spikes too much, reduce your volume or your intensity, coupled up with the right type of trainer. So if we pair all those things together, what we normally start to see is that your pain stabilizes, and once it does, and if it's a 1 to 3 out of 10, we normally recommend our patients that they can start to increase their running volume at that stage. It has to be nice and slow and progressive, so we roughly work between 10 to 20% increase depending on what the athlete's or the runner's previous volume of running was, and then we slowly build up there. If you get spikes in pain, you just wait a little bit longer and then build up over a 3-month period back to the levels that you were before. Now, the athletes that we generally stop running are those that can't walk without pain. So that we're looking at a really severe version or a really irritable version of Achilles tendonitis, and that we tend to see most in the acute phases or in really chronic conditions. With those patients, we generally advise them to stop running for a period of time. We stick in a heel lift, which helps shorten the Achilles tendon, offloads the pressure from it, and that normally reduces the pain levels. They begin some isometric strengthening exercises, so that's typically calf raise holds, that can often help dampen the pain. And once their pain starts to drop out on a day-to-day basis, is less irritable, and they can do their normal day-to-day activities with minimal pain, then we'd start to introduce some running. They'd follow a similar program to what we recommended before: run, rehab, rest. And then the rehab typically progresses over time, so normally we might start with heavy resistance to try and stimulate the tendon. That will progress into some form of plyometrics, so that's hopping variations, and we know based on this study that hopping or lateral hopping from side to side, that tends to stimulate the tendon the most, so that will be what we'll do towards the end stage of a rehabilitation while you're getting up your running volume to your previous levels. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel.